Come closer, darling. Let me whisper this straight into your ear while my voice brushes your skin. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and for the past 5 years of my marriage, I've carried a slow, pulsing ache deep inside me that I never dared name out loud. My husband David was a good man. Everyone said so. He worked long hours, kept the roof over our heads, made sure every bill was paid on time. But behind our bedroom door, nothing ever felt full. Nothing ever left me trembling and breathless the way a woman secretly needs to be. When I married David, I truly thought I'd found my forever. We met in college. The sparks weren't fireworks, but he was safe, steady, tender in his careful way. I told myself that was enough. I mistook comfort for the kind of slow-burning hunger I now know I was born for. Over the years, I learned the truth. What I craved wasn't money or roses. It was being looked at until I felt naked, even fully dressed. It was being listened to until my voice turned into soft moans of relief. It was being understood so completely that my body answered before words ever left my lips. David, my sweet David, simply couldn't give me that. The nights grow longer, the space between us colder. He'd come home late, exhausted, barely brushing my cheek before collapsing into sleep. Never reaching, never pulling me close, never letting his hands speak what his mouth wouldn't. Whenever I tried to open myself, spilling my day, my fears, the secret heat I carried, he'd murmur, "Later, Sarah," or "I'm tired," and turn away. I learned to swallow the ache, to lie perfectly still beside him, pretending I wasn't starving. Then Mark Turner moved in across the street, bringing his little daughter Emily and a quiet grief that somehow made him even more dangerously alive. From the first wave, something low in my belly fluttered. He looked at me like he could already taste the words I hadn't said. Our talks started innocent. Weather, gardens, school fundraisers. But every glance lingered half a second too long. Every smile promised more. Soon, I was confessing things to him I'd stopped trying to tell David because Mark leaned in. Mark listened like a man who wanted to memorize the sound of my voice when it shook. His calm, patient hunger made me wet with the simple relief of being heard. He noticed everything, the way I'd tuck my hair behind my ear when I was nervous, the faint flush on my throat when desire I wasn't allowed to feel crept up on me, the way my breath caught when he said my name like it was something delicious. He remembered how strong I like my coffee, dark enough to make my tongue curl, and how I read mystery novels under the covers with one hand slipping between my thighs when the loneliness got too sharp. One stormy afternoon, after another fight with David that left me shaking with unshed need, I sat on the porch steps, letting the rain soak through my dress until it clung to every curve. Mark appeared without a word, umbrella in one hand, a cup of tea in the other, brewed exactly the way I secretly love it. Hot, fierce, almost too much. He sat so close, our thighs touched, heat blooming where we connected. We stayed there while thunder rolled and rain drummed above us, and when the tears finally came, he didn't hush me. He let me fall apart against him, his arms steady around my shoulders, his breathing slow and deliberate like a promise. In that moment, he gave me what David hadn't in half a decade: permission to feel everything, to tremble, to want, to be completely undone without shame. After that, the shift inside me was slow and inevitable. Mark never rushed. He simply kept showing up, noticing every small leak in my life, every place I was dripping with need David ignored. The kitchen faucet, my loneliness, the way my body tightened whenever he was near. He fixed things quietly, sleeves rolled high, forearms strong and capable, never asking for thanks, only letting his eyes say, "I see you, Sarah. I see all of you. Whenever Emily's school play came, he saved me a seat right beside him in the dark auditorium, his fingers brushing mine every time we laughed. When the ache became unbearable, he'd stand at my porch rail and say, voice low and velvet, "You're not as alone as you feel, beautiful." He never crossed the line, never took what wasn't offered, but every look, every lingering pause, every perfectly timed cup of tea was foreplay to a woman who'd forgotten what it felt like to be wanted until her knees went weak. The night everything cracked open, David came home late again, cold, distracted, waving away my attempt to reach for him. I fled to the porch, pulse racing, skin too tight. Mark saw me from his window, crossed the street, and stopped, just close enough that I felt the heat rolling off him. "You deserve to be heard, Sarah," he whispered, rough and hungry. "You deserve to be seen, touched, taken apart until you're breathless and begging for more. You deserve everything." Those words slid down my spine like warm fingers, settled between my thighs, and stayed there, throbbing for days. I finally understood. The problem was never Mark. It wasn't even truly David. The problem was that I had spent years pretending I didn't have the right to burn. Mark never stole anything from me. He simply reminded me, slowly, deliberately, mercilessly, that I was born to be devoured by attention, by respect, by the kind of desire that leaves a woman shaking and glowing and utterly, gloriously alive. And now I am on fire. So tell me, love, can you feel the heat from here? Because I'm only getting started.